Hey, this is Adam Copeland reminding you to stay tuned here following the Warriors and Portland Trailblazers game for Dubs OT, streaming on YouTube, twitch.tv/thesportsleader, and of course, right here on KMBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, and garnish your wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-312-9970. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-312-9970. Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-312-9970.
Listening to the JR Sport Brief on CBS Sports Radio.
Hey there, what's going on? I respect your show. You're doing an amazing job. I listen every night when I'm on the road.
Call in now at 855-212-4CBS.
It's the JR Sport Brief show here on CBS Sports Radio. At the top of the hour, I'm going to give you a new top 6 list. It's what I do every single Wednesday night. We're going to talk about some of the most important and impactful free agent signings ever in sports. So flat and period. I'm going to give you that top 6 list at the top of the hour. It appears to be official. The New York Yankees on their social media a couple of minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, they put up a post. Welcome home, Juan Soto. The Yankees also said a thank you to Higashioka, Michael King, Brito, Vasquez. They thanked them on the way out the door. And for all of the women who called up in San Diego upset that Trent Grisham has moved on, the Yankees, they gave him a welcome post. Welcome, Trent Grisham. And so Juan Soto is a New York Yankee. And I expect him to hit 35 home runs, have an on-base percentage of 400, and allow Aaron Judge to hit more home runs. And maybe they won't just look at Aaron Judge and say, maybe we can pitch around him. That'll be nice. Let's see what the Yankees can now do with their starting rotation. I know they, like the New York Mets, are also interested in this Yamamoto guy from Japan. And the New York Mets are real interested in Yamamoto because Steve Cohen, I guess this is what happens when you're worth, I don't know. Shep, what is he worth? $16 billion or more? What do you think?
More.
$18 million. Higher? Come on, Shep, let's play the game, man.
No, I want to make this right for you.
No, I'm trying to play a game, and you're like, I'm going to give you the answer. What a party pooper you are.
I'm going to keep it real with you. I just think he's worth more than $16 million.
It's 20.
20, is it?
That's what Google says.
Okay, I was right. That's what I thought.
What's a $3-4 billion difference?
JR? There's a $3-4 billion difference. And that was in JR Sport Brief's pocket. Would you be doing 10 to 2 every night?
Oh, I'd be, well, I'm not saying that's not a difference. I'm saying, what's the difference for him?
Well, I think it's a huge difference for anybody.
Does he take one less flight to Japan?
When you have a private aircraft and you are worth in the billions, I don't think there's a limit on how many flights you take.
You build a rocket to Mars, right? Isn't that what that other idiot is doing?
Musk
The one with the electric cars, right?
Yeah, the electric cars is Musk, Elon Musk, yeah.
Yeah, he built one that looks like a tank right now. Well, anyway, the New York Mets went to Japan to see Yamamoto, and their new president, David Stearns, must be nice to work for a super billionaire. He went too. I guess it's a free trip to talk to a baseball player. Anyway, he actually detailed the trip to the media, and he sounds like a kid in the candy store, I think. Listen to this.
When you're in the middle of a big free agent pursuit, every club's going to meet with him. So this likely shouldn't be shocking news, but I understand that when stuff like this gets out, it's newsworthy. So yes, we met with him. It was a good meeting.
What? Can you see, let's say, I don't know, can you see the Tampa Bay Rays getting on a plane, a private plane to Japan to meet with a free agent? Could you see the Milwaukee Brewers going to Japan on a private plane to meet with a free agent? Could you see Bob Nutting of the Pittsburgh Pirates getting on a private plane to Japan to meet with a free agent?
No, just like you wouldn't see Stuart Sternberg or you wouldn't see Mark Atanasio, I believe his name is, right?
Yeah, right. Let's be real. Right. He's like, oh, well, this is what people do when we court free agents. We go all around the world. Like, this is not James Bond. This is Steve Cohen, one of the wealthiest human beings on earth and one of the richest owners in all of sports on earth. Just like, oh yeah, we want the Japanese guy. The Yankees ain't flying private to go see him. Let's go be better than the Yankees. Be funny if the Yankees get Yamamoto. I'ma laugh. 855-212-4CBS. Now that's a gut punch. We flew all the way to Japan to meet the guy, and he signed with the team, on the other side of the river. Carl is calling from New York. Where? I don't know. It's a big state. You're on CBS Sports Radio. What's up, Carl?
Hey, I'm in Brooklyn.
You in Brooklyn? Why didn't you say you were from Brooklyn?
I don't know, New York area. I don't think of it as New York.
No, we don't. Brooklyn is different than every place else. Stop it.
Anyway, just to kind of real quick put a bow on the whole Christian discussion before the break, and I'll let you get back to Soto himself. The bar is not high. The Yankees played 14 different guys in the outfield last year. But is he a AAA player? No. Great. Beyond that, as you said, nobody cares.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it. I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you. Hey, Shep, I know exactly where in Brooklyn he's from. You want to know where he's from?
Let's start with a W.
I was going to say Greenpoint. Close enough, right?
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Greenpoint, Williamsburg, same thing. It's like, I'm from New York. Brooklyn is part of New York.
Now, how many people know where Williamsburg and Greenpoint is across the country that do not live in New York City?
People, everybody listening all across North America. That's the hipster part of Brooklyn.
Yes.
The two places that Shep and I just met. He gave a very hipster answer. Because anybody who's really from Brooklyn is never going to tell you, no, Brooklyn's just part of New York. Nobody will ever tell you that. Nobody. That's how I know that guy, he ain't from Brooklyn. He just lives there. 855-212-4CBS. Like Manny, he ain't calling me from Queens. He's calling me from Flushing. Flushing is in Queens. Hey, you're on CBS Sports Radio, Manny. What's up?
Well, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Good to hear. Listen, I like the deal. Hopefully they will get something good with this little kid. And by the way, one of them will really go there. Listen, he's having a good year, but nobody wants him. That big, huge contract. It'll be hard for me. It'll be hard for people to trade him. Oh yeah, he's not really likable. I mean, ask Mr. Can't keep my hands to myself. Keep
your hands to myself. Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Are you sick? You got a cold?
No. Sorry, I was a little laughing, but
no. I thought you sound a little stuffy.
Nah. I'm okay.
Well,
But anyway,
you know how much drugs I had to take to do the show tonight?
I don't want to know.
A lot, Manny. But I'm here. That's all that matters. Hey, thank you, Manny. I'll talk to you later, okay?
Yes.
No problem. Hey, Shep, do you know how much drugs I had to take to do the show tonight?
I had no idea you took an ounce of drugs tonight.
Man, the past couple of nights since I came back, oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, why would you know? I'm telling you now.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you never complain about anything, so I'm actually not surprised I'm hearing it for the first time.
I didn't wanna punk out and say I'm calling out. My head is the back of my head is throbbing.
I didn't know that, man. I'm sorry. Then I wouldn't bombard you with such stupid crap on the air. Then I apologize.
What did you tell me that's so stupid?
I say some stupid stuff every now and then.
You think you give me the headache?
I don't think I'm giving you the headache. I don't think it's helping, though. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know that.
Let's talk to this guy, Joe from Dallas. Let's see if he can make me worse. Hey, Joe, you're on CBS Sports Radio. What's up?
Yeah, what's up, man? I want to talk about that Juan Soto trade. I think that Juan Soto trade to anybody is a good trade. And then, as far as Ohtani, I would love to see him go to the Rangers. That's what I think would be a good fit for him to go.
Are they still? I mean, you hear so many stupid rumors, I stopped paying attention. Aren't the Texas Rangers out, or are they one of the teams that is still in?
Out of what?
Out of the running, out of contention to bring in Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they're out of hand. But what I do know is that they've always had pitching problems. But they don't have batting problems. So I would love to see him go to the Rangers.
All right. Well, how many starts is Max Scherzer going to have this upcoming season?
You know, to be honest, I don't even like him that much because I feel like ever since they took off or they struck down on the sticky substances, you know, pitchers like Max Scherzer and I forget the other guy's name, Cole.
Garrett Cole just won a Cy Young.
Yeah, but he hasn't been as good as he was.
Come on. He just won the Cy Young. Like, stop it, Joe.
I don't care what he won.
You don't have no justification. Your team just won the World Series. Be happy about that, okay?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Joe. It's like, I don't care that he won the Cy Young. He still sucks. Like, come on, man. Just making stuff up and saying nothing for no reason. Shohei Ohtani's going to the Dodgers. It's just my opinion. It's the JR Sport Brief Show here with you on CBS Sports Radio. We're getting ready to take a break. On the other side of this break, I'm bringing you a new top 6 list. We're going to take a look at some of the most impactful free agent signings ever in the world of sports. I'll tell you who they are on the other side. It's the JR Sport Brief Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Copeland reminding you to stay tuned here following the Warriors and Portland Trailblazers game for Dubs OT, streaming on YouTube, twitch.tv/thesportsleader, and of course, right here on KMBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
Call 800-527-4903. That's 800-527-4903. 800-527-4903. Again, 800-527-4903.
Paid for by Airtime Media.
This is Giants baseball. Nothing like it.
High drive to left. Gone!
On KNBR and KNBR FM, San Francisco, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the JR Sport Brief on CBS Sports Radio.
It is the JR Sport Brief Show here with you on CBS Sports Radio. Coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. Super producer and host Dave Shepard. He's joining us live from New York City. And we're here hanging out with you. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, on the free Odyssey app, on your local CBS Sports Radio affiliate, Sirius XM channel 158. And if you're listening on a smart speaker, then good for you. You are so technologically advanced. I get started. The show gets started every weeknight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. Talk to people all over the country. Here in Atlanta, Miami, Cleveland, Detroit, Boston, Kansas City, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Las Vegas, Utah, Portland, Seattle, Vancouver. Did I say San Diego? Phoenix? We got people listening everywhere. So if you're at work, at home, at school, if you're holding it down, and if you are holding it down, you know exactly what the hell I mean. Thank you for listening to the show. We've talked about a lot. Juan Soto, officially a New York Yankee. No longer a member of the Padres. Padres get back quite a few New York Yankees. Michael King, starting pitcher. Johnny Brito, starting pitcher. Drew Thorpe, Yankees starting pitching prospect. Kyle Higashioka, a longtime New York Yankees backup catcher, to rent Juan Soto for a year. The Yankees are going all in because he is still entering into the final season of his contract. He will be a free agent following this upcoming season, and the Yankees are going to have to hope that they can just write a big old check and keep him around for his prime, because he's only 25 years old. This is someone who already helped the team win a World Series, that being the Washington Nationals, when he just basically fell out of the womb. Juan Soto, very familiar with New York. I know he got a lot of family there, and he going to be basically playing at home. Shout outs to Juan Soto. Shout out to the Yankees. And good luck to the Padres as they continue to sort out their financial situations and try to make some moves to free up some cash for some pitching. You know, last season, unfortunately, was a disaster. Juan Soto going to the New York Yankees. We still don't know what's going on with Shohei Ohtani. We have no idea where he will end up. I still have thought from the beginning that he would stick around and just go north instead of playing for the Angels, that he would just play for the Dodgers. That makes the most sense to me, but we'll see. Maybe he'll surprise everybody and just, I don't know, go to Canada. Wouldn't that be a hell of a shot? Talked about Trevor Lawrence, said that he's the one who chose to walk off of the field the other day. Talked about Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is like, yeah, I'll play football. And so we have so much more to do. And because there's so much news about free agents, guys signing here, Major League Baseball hot stove, every Wednesday night, I bring you a new top 6 list. And tonight, we're going to take a look at free agents. We're going to look at some of the most impactful free agent signings that we've ever seen in the world of sports. Now, let's also keep in mind, free agency didn't always exist in sports, okay? We got to go back to the 80s, early 90s in some cases, before players were able to move around at their will, at how they wanted to. And throughout the course of time, we've had contracts and agreements get adjusted because of some of these deals. And so we've had some wild ones. Is it a matter of money? Is there some type of cultural, historical impact? Well, we're going to break it down because it's time for a new top 6 list. And tonight, we're taking a look at some of the most impactful free agent signings ever. Where's the funk music?
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to get JR's latest top 6 list, only on the JR Sport Brief.
It is the JR Sport Brief Show here with you on CBS Sports Radio. Shohei Ohtani's about to get paid. Is this man going to get paid in Los Angeles with the Dodgers? Is he going to be ridiculous and stick around with those loser Angels? Is he going to shock everybody and go to Canada? We just got to wait and see. And he might receive one of the biggest contracts in, forget North American sports history. He just might get one of the biggest contracts ever. Is he getting $500 million? Is he getting $600 million? We're going to find out. But with this list, top 6 free agent signings ever, these players, they've already changed the game. And so let's get started with the first number. It's a countdown. It's a top 6. So this is what?
Number 6.
We got to go back to 1997. This isn't a free agent signing specifically, but this was kind of right at the line. This was at a deadline. And this is someone who at this point is already, damn, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest NBA players of all time. Comes from South Carolina via Chicago. His name is Kevin Garnett. You might recall this. The man came into the NBA straight out of high school. In less than 2 years from playing his first game in the league. In 1997, Kevin Garnett was 21 years old. And he got a 6-year contract worth $126 million. This was in 1997. He only played 2 seasons. He never won a playoff game. At that point in time, that contract, $126 million, it was more than double what Michael Jordan made in his whole career up until that point. And then Michael Jordan said, y'all got to pay me $33 million, but that's a separate point. Kevin Garnett's contract made the NBA say, we can't all be as stupid as the Timberwolves. We can't pay these players these ridiculous amounts of money. And so the NBA, you might remember, they had a lockout the following season. Only 50 games. And we ended up seeing the San Antonio Spurs smash the Knicks in the finals, probably because of that lockout. And so Kevin Garnett, that contract, putting in parameters for maximum contracts and deals. And now these players, all these years later, the NBA is a blossoming business. We got dudes making more than $60 million a season 25 years later. Kevin Garnett at the time sat down with David Aldridge. David Aldridge said, hey, KG, do you think the NBA can even last paying you $126 million and all these other players more? Listen to what Garnett had to say.
To be honest with you, I don't think so. I mean, if someone would have told me that I'd have had over $100 million in future earnings and all that stuff, I'd probably lick that on the fried kite or something. So I mean, the world is crazy. You never know what to expect. I don't think so.
Yeah, he didn't think that it was sustainable. Well, we had a lockout after, didn't we? The NBA put a cap on salaries. Well, damn it now, if you're Nikola Jokic, if you are Giannis, these dudes are making 60 per. It must be nice. Top 6 free agent signings ever. Most impactful. Kevin Garnett at number 6. What's the next number?
Number 5.
Oh man, this one just happened a few months ago. This actually took place in the summertime. We had one of the greatest players on earth decide he's going to come to America and play in what he called a minor league. This is Lionel Messi. He came over to Inter Miami and decided to light it up right out of the gate. But he decided to light it up right after the gate after he agreed to a contract, about 2.5 seasons, that pays him at minimum $50 to $60 million annually. Messi wasted no time in joining Inter Miami, shopping in the supermarket, by the way, nice publicity, but then proceeded to go out there and just say, oh, goals? Oh, I got those. I mean, he wasted no time. Let's take a listen to this. Of course, only Apple TV. They're helping to pay for Messi. This is Messi driving in a goal, doubling Inter Miami's lead in his first season. Take a listen to this.
Kristoff into the feet of Martinez has time to turn into Messi. Advantage play. Messi driving forward. Messi from distance.
Illustrated their sports person of the year. I think Time magazine got a little bit more weight to it. Lionel Messi helping to change and heighten interest here of soccer or football in North America ahead of the World Cup, man. This is some fun stuff. Impactful free agent signing. Messi at number 5. What's the next number?
Number 4.
We gotta go to one of my favorite places. I'm not supposed to say that because I'm in Atlanta. We got to go to New Orleans. Sorry, Falcons fans. We got to take a look at Drew Brees. Yes, Drew Brees, one of the most impactful signings in free agent history. I don't care what sport it is, because what Drew Brees did when he signed down in New Orleans, and we know he had the bum shoulder, he wasn't going to get no damn deal in San Diego, Miami. Nick Saban might have wanted him. It didn't work out. So he ends up signing with the Saints. 6 years, $60 million. The year that he signs in 2006 happens to be the first year that the Saints get back into the Superdome following Katrina. Drew Brees wasn't just a football signing. Drew Brees helped breathe life into the organization. He helped give them hope. He gave them a distraction. He gave them something to actually care and think about. How about winning the Super Bowl over that forehead guy, Peyton Manning, in 2010? Drew Brees means so much more to the Saints. He means more to the city, the state, the region. Big time free agent signing, Drew Brees. Hey, didn't work out with the Chargers? worked out awesome storybook style with the Saints. And when he finally retired, Drew Brees said thank you to the Saints fans. This is from their YouTube.
To the city of New Orleans and the Who Dat Nation, words cannot express the love and appreciation I have for you. From the moment I stepped foot into the city of New Orleans, I could feel your spirit. You told me that if I loved New Orleans, you would love me back. No truer words have ever been spoken. You embraced me as your quarterback, and my family as your own. You made me strive to be the best I could be for you. When I was knocked down, you picked me up. It was your passion, emotion, and resilience that made us all believe. I will spend the rest of my life attempting to give back to you what you have given to me.
Yeah, it is. Every time I go down to New Orleans, he's beloved. People are like, he lives here, his family lives there. You see his family go grocery shopping here. He's beloved, and you can't blame him. Because there's so much history tied there. It goes beyond football. There's so much, unfortunately, that has to do with tragedy. And at the same time, he was at the forefront and has been at the forefront. Always giving back down in New Orleans. You want to talk about an impactful free agent signing? Yeah, Drew Brees going to the Saints. Big deal, huge deal in 2006. I got Brees at 4. What's the next number?
Number 3.
Oh, this is a simple one. Speaking of baseball, at the time, this was the most lucrative contract in sports history. Some dude named Alex Rodriguez decided to sign with the Texas Rangers. A 10-year deal, $252 million. I mean, when you start looking at some of the deals that are handed out today, Aaron Judge, almost 9 years, 10 years, $360 million. Alex Rodriguez was ahead of the curve. Got his deal in 2000. Ultimately, we know that he tried to get traded to the Red Sox, didn't happen. Moved to the New York Yankees, won a World Series. But you know what? You know, there was that press conference about Alex Rodriguez. There was that press conference when Alex Rodriguez was, he said the most important thing about his contract and time in Texas. Let's take a listen to the press conference.
As I discussed with Peter Gammons, during the year 2001, 2002, 2003, I experimented with a banned substance that eventually triggered a positive test.
Oh, that... Hey, Chef, that wasn't the... I messed up. That wasn't the press conference when he joined the Rangers. That's when he said that he used drugs, right?
You'd be correct.
Yeah. My bad. That was my fault. Not really. I mean, when has Alex Rodriguez said anything that wasn't a lie?
In fairness, you and I both look for a lot of Rangers sound. There's really not a lot of positive sound about him as a Ranger outside of his 52nd home run, which we know is now tainted.
Yeah, because he was a cheater.
Correct, and I think that's the point that you got across. I think that's the right clip.
Hey, I forgot that he was a cheater. Can we hear him again? Yeah. Thank you, I forgot.
As I discussed with Peter Gammons, during the year 2001, 2002, 2003, I experimented with a banned substance that eventually triggered a positive test.
Yeah, he's just a cheater. And a liar. A deceiver. It's Alex Rodriguez, folks. Impactful, yes, one of the most impactful free agent signings ever. I mean, damn it, by the time he was with the Yankees, he tried to sue for the back end of his money because he was cheating and lying. Yeah, he did set the table for those guys to make money up. Congratulations, Aaron Judge. Alex Rodriguez at number 3. What's the next number?
Number 2.
Hey, if you thought Alex Rodriguez is a liar or a phony, I don't think this guy is a liar or a phony. He just controls everything, and why not? He's one of the greatest athletes of all time. Flat in, period. This guy's free agent signing was so impactful. He had a whole television special around. His free agent signing was so impactful, an entire city was burning his jerseys. His free agent signing was so impactful, his former owner wrote him a nasty message in crayon. This is LeBron James and his decision back in July of 2010. And if you don't recall the decision, LeBron James sat down at a Boys and Girls Club with Jim Gray in Connecticut and said this.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, it's very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Why?
Like I said before, I feel like it's going to give me the best opportunity to win and to win for multiple years. And not only just to win in the regular season or just to win 5 games in a row or 3 games in a row. I want to be able to win championships, and I feel like I can compete down there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he didn't win as many as he said he was going to win. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. He got 2. And oh yeah, he did go to another one. And some big German guy whipped that ass. And then they had to carry my guy Chris Bosh off of the floor because he was crying hysterically. Sorry, Chris. Chris Bosh, very nice guy. I love him. Anyway, LeBron James. Yeah, if you don't understand the impact of his decision, where the hell you been? Crazy to think that was 13 years ago, and LeBron James is still busting ass at almost 40. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. This guy's busting ass. Every time he can make a decision on national TV every day if he wanted to, and he's a billionaire now. That was 13 years ago. I got LeBron number 2. You want to talk about impactful free agent signings? LeBron James said, I'm doing this my way. And then he said he should have did it that way. Anyway, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you, number 1, what is the most impactful free agent signing ever? I'll tell you on the other side of the break. It's the JR Sport Brief Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker rate class. Exam required to qualify.
Could you imagine you ever dealt with something like that? Shep can't believe it. 855-212.
I apologize, Jay. I was just screening like 1,000 calls. Say that again, sir?
No, I said you're doing so much work anyway.
Yeah, you and I both. No, I never want to fall flat on the air with you, man. What was the comment?
No, it's a terrible thing.
Breaking up a marriage?
Yeah, I said the last time someone said to me they listen to me more than their husband, I had a husband come up to me and say, hey, stay out of my marriage. I'm like, I'm not in your marriage.
And you thought you weren't going to top my Smush Parker story.
Oh, this is an old story, Shep. This is an old one.
Gotcha.
No husbands ever come up to you like that before?
No. Killers move in silence.
Keep it that way. What did you just say?
I said killers move in silence.
You're a marriage killer?
Well, I was making a joke. I would never mess up the home life of any couple, any family. But I'm just saying if I did, the husband wouldn't know about it. Let's put it that way.
You're terrible, man.
No, I'm obviously being facetious. I would never interfere.
Okay, all right. I don't know.
I would never interfere with the marriage, with the exception, and I'm gonna be very honest about this. Along with my girlfriend, the only other woman I would entertain being with is Lily Collins, who's married. But if I saw Lily Collins, like, on a street corner, anywhere, I'm gonna take my shot. I don't care if she is happily married. I feel like I'm meant to...
Who is Lily Collins?
No, really?
I don't know who that is.
So, you know Phil Collins, the musician?
Of course.
Okay, so his daughter. Right. Okay, so you now listen. You've heard of the show. I'm not a fan of it, but I know it's a big show on Netflix. Have you ever heard of Emily in Paris?
Nope.
No way. Really?
I don't know what the hell. Emily in Paris? Why am I? Whatever the show is, can you imagine me sitting in my house on my couch watching Emily in Paris?
No, but you do have a really good understanding of everything in pop culture, though.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Have you? Remember they came up with like Ted Bundy, like a movie, and Zac Efron starred in it?
I know about the real Ted Bundy.
Okay, fair enough. But they did obviously a dramatic version of that. They Hollywooded it up. Well, Lily Collins starred opposite of... Man, if you saw any of these shows or movies, this would make a lot more sense there.
I haven't.
Okay, Google Lily Collins in the break, and you'll understand why I would have no problem taking my shot.
I think if I was interested in her, I would already know what she is.
No, trust me. Any human being on the planet would be interested in Lily Collins.
Okay.
Yeah, look at her, man. She's absolutely...
She's a pretty woman.
Stunning.
She's pretty.
Stunning.
I want to give her a sandwich.
Well, it's like JR, if I said LeBron James is a good basketball player, that's not how you would describe LeBron James. You know what I mean?
This lady's pretty, but I mean, I need to give her a sandwich.
Okay.
You know Khalees?
No.
I like Khalees.
Who's that?
It's Nas' ex-wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But anyway, I don't need beef with Nas.
Yeah, who does?
Anyway, listen, I just gave you a top 6 list. Some of the most impactful free agent signings ever. Not just for what they did maybe on the field, what they meant to the city, the state, what they meant culturally to the sport, to the region. And so you got to open up your brain here. You want to talk about some of the most top or most impactful free agent signings ever? I'm about to tell you number one. But before we do that, let me give you a recap if you missed us last break. And if you want to hear all of the fancy audio, etc. from last break, listen on the free Odyssey app and hit rewind. At number 6, I gave you Kevin Garnett. Although not in the truest form of free agent signing, he did sign that extension down to the wire in 1997, a 6-year deal, $126 million, when he was only 2 years into his career. He was only 21 years old. That contract at the time was more than double what Michael Jordan made in his whole career up until that point. Kevin Garnett got that money, and the next season, the NBA pretty much said, hey, we locking the players out. We need a better deal. And they instituted limits and caps, maximum salaries to make sure that everything was in order. At number 5, I gave you Lionel Messi. The man came to the MLS a few months ago, has set the entire world on fire, and he is typically you put an exclamation point at the end of a sentence. He is here at the beginning of the sentence, especially as the United States of America and North America gear up for the World Cup. At number 4, most impactful free agent signings ever, I gave you Drew Brees. This was so much more than a football signing. Drew Brees signs with the Saints in 2006, coming off of that busted up shoulder with the San Diego Chargers, and he signs with the Saints the year that they move back full time into the Superdome following Katrina. He has been more than a football player. He has been an ambassador and a philanthropist for the entire city. Drew Brees at number 4. At number 3, this dude helped set the table for some of these ridiculous contracts that we see in baseball. He also happened to be one of the biggest cheaters of all time in sports. Well, big liar. His name is Alex Rodriguez. $252 million in the year 2000. At that point in time, it was the most lucrative contract in sports history. LeBron at number 3, or excuse me, A-Rod at number 3, LeBron James in his decision at number 2. He ushered in an era of, I am going where I want to go, and I want to drag some folks with me. LeBron James would ultimately say that maybe the decision in televising it wasn't the best idea, but at least he went back to Cleveland and helped deliver them a championship. So if I have LeBron James here at number 2, it's one of the most biggest, impactful athletes ever, and his story isn't even over. Who the hell could I possibly put here at this number?
Number 1.
We have to go back to 1947. We have to go to the Dodgers. We gotta go to Brooklyn. We have to go to Jackie Robinson. You gonna tell me there's a more impactful signing in the world of sports than Jackie Robinson? I think you'd be hard-pressed to find one. The man signed on April 10th, 1947, and he was playing for the Dodgers 5 days later. At that point in time, baseball, Major League Baseball, had not seen a black player since the 1880s. Yes, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, and he could go out there winning Rookie of the Year and winning MVP a couple of seasons after that, and Dodgers winning a title a few years after that in 55. Jackie Robinson, he thanked the dude who helped him in that case. The man who said, I'm the president, I'm the boss, I'm also a part owner, and yeah, let's get a black guy in here. And yeah, we need the right black guy. No, it doesn't sound right, not at all, but it was Branch Rickey. And Jackie Robinson never forgot the opportunity that he got and received from him. And so on the Dick Cavett show, a long time ago, Jackie Robinson, unfortunately,
104.5 at 680, the sports leader. Dub Nation. Time for the real and inside story on Warriors basketball.
Curry sidestep, Curry drive, Curry flip, Curry good!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on KNDR 104.5 and 6.8. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Curry to Wiggins, shot clock at 7. Wiggins to the rim, off iron, Kamara with a rebound. And then Kuminga the steal. About a 4-second plus game shot clock difference. They're not going to foul. Portland does have a foul to give. If they have to foul, twice. Well, if they make the shot, they'll still be one possession game unless they make it 3. Curry 3! 2 seconds here. That 3 doesn't matter. And the Dubs, they were down 11 at various points in the game. They finally took their first lead in the 4th. And they win it 110-106. Going to see a lot of the Blazers. We've seen a lot of the Suns. You're going to see OKC for the 4th and final time on Friday.
All right, Warriors find a way. We welcome you in here on The Sports Leader. Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson, as the Warriors find a way to get the job done. NBC Sports Bay Area on the call there. The Steph Curry 3 to put the game away. The final call there, 110-106 is the final. And the Warriors, 0 upside game again for them. And they were flat and lethargic and couldn't make a shot and getting out hustled and all kinds of really bad things for about 2.5 to 3 quarters in this one. Maybe even a little bit of bleed over into the 4th quarter. But the Warriors do find a way. And it was a whole hell of a lot of Steph and Curry going for 31 and getting to the free throw line. And it was a big second half with the Warriors outscoring the Blazers 34-31 in the 3rd and then 28-20 in the 4th. So the Dubs doing the job defensively in the 4th quarter. But this game changed really with one substitution by Steve Kerr, and it was Steve Kerr's willingness to go to a player who wasn't in the rotation at the beginning of the night. Why wasn't he in the rotation? I'm not quite sure. But that player was Jonathan Kuminga, who didn't play at all in the first 31 minutes of this game, played all of the final 17 minutes, and was a game-high plus 13, scoring 13 points on 6 of 6 shooting and adding a free throw. Jonathan Kuminga sparked the Warriors in a moment where the Warriors absolutely needed to be sparked. And he helped lead them along with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and everybody else down the stretch to a 110-106. Not pretty, but effective. And as I often like to say, better than the alternative kind of a win inside Chase Center. So 808-KNBR, that is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here. Got the great Greg Silver behind the glass here, running things and cutting up all the highlights and the post-game sound that we're going to have for you here on Dubs OT with John Dickinson as we keep this thing rolling on into the night. But if you're leaving the ball game and you're about to hop in your car and head home, give me a call, shoot me a text. 808-KNBR is the phone number to participate in the program. Always appreciate everyone watching on YouTube and Twitch as well. Love that, as this is a new program here on KNBR, the sports leader. After each and every Warriors basketball game, Dubs OT with JD, we're going to fire this thing up and take your calls and some instant reaction and just talk Dubs basketball. And really thrilled to be doing it. This is our 3rd show. The Warriors haven't been quite playing a lot of games in rapid succession here over the course of the last week and a half, but that time is going to come here within the next week, and it's going to come rapid fire with the Warriors playing a ton of games from there. So 808-KNBR is the number. 808-KNBR, John Dickinson here on The Sports Leader, as the Warriors do get the win 110-106, so they improve to 10-11, and they will try and keep this thing rolling and get back to the 500 mark on Friday in Oklahoma City, as this was one of the 2 games with Friday's game that just happened to pop up on the schedule off of the Warriors' inability to advance in the in-season tournament. So if you didn't make the round of 8,
you had a couple of games that needed to be made up, and so this was one of those games. One a home game, one an away game, and the away game is Friday at Oklahoma City. So some general thoughts on this one. And again, I want to hear from you because this if the Warriors lose this game, it is going to feel like rock bottom, and there have already been a few rock bottom type feeling losses, including really the last two losses that the Warriors had. Saturday down in L.A. against the Clippers and the game in Sacramento. The Warriors have just been finding ways to lose close and lose just in dramatic, heartbreaking, gut punch, maybe even below the gut punch type of losses. But the Warriors find a way to get the job done in this one. But it was not pretty, and it was beyond not pretty for Golden State as they came out flat, fell behind immediately 13-6, then it was 18-10. Then they had an 8-0 run to tie the game at 18, which was sparked by Moses Moody, who really, he gets the Jonathan Kuminga award for the first half because he did the things that Kuminga did in the second half in the first half and really was a big part, if not the main reason why this game didn't get completely out of hand for the Warriors, even though it was a game that the Warriors didn't lead at any point until the fourth quarter at 90-89. And the Warriors are just fighting this uphill climb. But, yeah, really hard to explain, honestly. But then, on the other hand, not really all that hard to explain when you look at the fact that the Warriors coming off a tough loss, needing as many wins as they possibly can, have 12 of their top 13 back in the rotation tonight as far as healthy and available with GP2, Gary Payton II, the only player that's unavailable. And yet they come out and they have 8 turnovers in the first quarter. And they're down, and they're just slogging through, lifeless to begin the second quarter. Looked like at that point in time, Jonathan Kuminga was for sure out of the rotation. Warriors are down 41-32. Then they make a little run. Then they play some zone, and then the Blazers carve them up. But it was just a matter of the Warriors couldn't make a shot. They were getting out-hustled. They looked unathletic. And in a game that the Warriors really needed to have, I found myself over at Chase earlier tonight just wondering how in the hell does this team come out so damn flat, needing a win in such a big way? And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, God, this is probably the kind of game. And look, this is by no means an excuse. By no means is this an excuse for the Golden State Warriors. But I'm thinking about, afternoon game in L.A. Steve Kerr gives them multiple days off, even after an afternoon game. They don't have a practice Sunday. They don't have a practice Monday. They wind up coming back and having practice Tuesday. And you're thinking, what the heck is going on? But this still, when you look at this Portland team that was shorthanded, they didn't have Jeremy Grant. They didn't have DeAndre Ayton. And the Warriors just continue to find themselves in this predicament where they're not good enough on nights where they're able to find it for lengthy stretches like they did in Sacramento and against the Clippers on the road. They're not good enough to put those teams away even when they're playing great for a half or even slightly longer than a half. And so those good teams are able to hang in the game against them. And then if they can't execute down the stretch, they can wind up having games stolen from them, which happened twice last week. But then the flip side of that coin is it's hard still for this team who's been through the grind of the 4 championships and the 6 NBA finals and all of that to get up for a game like tonight. So you've got all the OG veterans coming off of these heartbreaking losses, and you're thinking, all right, they're going to come out and start smoking teams, especially an undermanned team like the Blazers that comes in 6-13. And you're thinking, all right, it's go time, but then it's just not go time because and Steve Kerr's tweaking with the rotation, and you don't know what the heck is going on night to night. I know Coach Kerr went back to the traditional starting lineup tonight with Kevon Looney out there and Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. He said before the ball game he's trying to find some level of consistency as far as that lineup goes, and then he can build the rotation off of it. I don't know really what Jonathan Kuminga did, and look, for those of you who have listened to me talk Warriors basketball over the last few years, I've probably been the one guy that has not anointed Jonathan Kuminga a player that he isn't before his time, right? Like, and nothing against Kuminga's ceiling or anything like that. Like, I do think Kuminga projects to be a pretty damn good player, but I feel like in the Bay, Kuminga's been anointed as the next coming pretty quickly and without having done a whole heck of a lot, to be perfectly honest. Now, that being said, and I was on record in the playoffs as saying he probably deserved to get benched sooner than he did ultimately get benched against the Kings in that series. And then he kind of pouted and was complaining about playing time and didn't get run in the Lakers series, which I still found peculiar, but I understood why. All of that being said, and I don't think Kuminga's had a real good start to this season by any means. He had a few games in the beginning where he didn't play well in the first half and then did play well in the second half. So I'm fascinated to hear what Steve Kerr says after the ball game regarding Kuminga, when you look at the fact that he didn't play at all for the first 31 minutes and then winds up being basically the most important player on the floor, not named Steph Curry or Draymond Green, in helping lead the Warriors to victory down the stretch. So I think that's going to be one that I'm really interested to hear, because I didn't really understand, for as much as I've been somebody that's been more, I don't want to say critical of Kuminga, but just I'm not necessarily giving him all of the accolades without actually proving it consistently on the court, is kind of where I've been on Kuminga. That all being said, I have no idea what happened in the last 3 days to where he was not a member of the Warriors rotation in this game at the beginning as far as Steve Kerr's plan. That seems a little odd to me. That makes me think that, without really knowing, and of course I'll do some digging, but that makes me wonder if maybe something happened. And, or it could just be a numbers game. I know Coach Kerr said, hey, there's going to be players on certain nights that aren't getting their run, and they're going to have to stay ready. And, I give Kuminga a hell of a lot of credit, because Kuminga wants to be playing a lot. I think Kuminga believes that he deserves to be playing a lot for this Warriors team on a night-in, night-out basis. And I give Kuminga all the credit in the world for staying ready when the game was kind of dead and the Warriors were flat and Steve Kerr was looking for a spark there toward the end of the third quarter, because Coach Kerr tapped him on the shoulder and Kuminga went in the game, and Kuminga brought it. He brought energy, all of his buckets basically in the paint. He grabbed a couple rebounds, and he made things happen. He made things happen, and he was sort of a matchup problem for the young athletic Blazers team that really was making the Warriors look old and slow at different points in this game. So hat tip to Kuminga. Not sure what the hell was going on and why he wasn't in the rotation against this team to begin with, coming off of a couple of days off. That, to be perfectly honest, doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless there's something bigger maybe going on. But I give him credit for staying ready, and I give Steve Kerr credit for, even though he wasn't in the original plan, I give Steve Kerr credit for going to him and having the guts to do it. And now he's going to have to answer for it, because when you play as well as Kuminga did in the second half, the question isn't going to be, hey, Steve, tremendous platitudes to you for going to Kuminga. No, the question is going to be, why the hell wasn't he playing the whole damn game? So it's kind of a no-win for Steve Kerr, especially given how popular a player Kuminga is for the most part among the Warrior fan base. And I'll say this, Jonathan Kuminga is a pretty popular player among the media corps. I mean, and the Warriors media, they do have their favorites, as objective as I think they are, not coming down anybody's road personally, but let's just be honest about it. Kuminga is a fan and media favorite, because when Kuminga plays well, Kuminga moves the needle. People like watching his highlights. People like reading about him. People like talking about him. So that will probably be the question for Steve Kerr, and I'm fascinated to see if he goes the Podziemski route from a few weeks back when Podziemski hadn't been playing, and then he just said, well, Podziemski's going to be in the rotation now for good, which I think maybe backed Steve Kerr into a corner that he didn't want to be in. But all in all, Warriors avoid disaster. I mean, how do you characterize that? I mean, again, the Warriors basically have to win all of these zero upside games if they're going to get back to 500 and slightly above and have a shot to get on the run and be the team that they think they are. So avoiding the disaster of a home loss to Portland with multiple days off when you're essentially at full strength without GP2, except for GP2, I think you'll take it. But there isn't a lot of positive mojo coming off of a game like tonight other than you got the win. Now go play a hell of a lot better in Oklahoma City on Friday. So 808-KNBR. 808-KNBR is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text. It's Dubs OT with John Dickinson here on The Sports Leader as the Warriors get the win 110-106. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear from Jonathan Kuminga. We'll hear from everybody in the postgame press conferences over at Chase tonight and from the locker room as well. But let's get to the phones. Javier in Vacaville is going to get it tipped off tonight here on The Sports Leader. What's going on, Javier?
How you doing, Mr. Dickinson?
What's going on, man?
Man, long time no talk. So, I'm a big, basketball follower, Kings fan. Do with the words from the Bay. We've had a lot of conversations in the past. And,
yes, we have. Like three different places we've had conversations, Javier. I know what time it is. What do you got, man?
This is true. Since I was a young man. But I was saying the Kings have shown the ability to develop and play their youth. The Warriors have made amends for the 2020 draft blunder because Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga have been proven to be youthful pieces that are rotational players that could be very beneficial to the lineup. But no disrespect, sir, but Moody is averaging just under 9, 3-1, and 50% from the field in 18.5 minutes or so per game. And Kuminga, I think, has not had a bad start to the season, averaging 11, 3-1, 45% from the field, 19 minutes a game. I don't understand the logic and why. You look at the past, from 13 to 20-ish, right before KD got that Achilles tear. When they had the veterans and or rotational players, they were getting 25, 30 minutes. For them to have consistency and get in rhythm, they can't go 3 DNPs and then come in today and play last 17 minutes. This is not practical. And I just want your thoughts on that. And number two, do you feel like they're just going to stay pat and stay with the status quo and just ride the coattails of Steph Curry through all 82 in the playoffs, or are they going to make a substantial move? And I'm not saying like break up the core, but call the Torontos of the world, the Chicagos, because, sir, you cannot deny, Mr. Dickinson, this is not a great basketball team. Like it's okay.
They're not right now. They're definitely not right now.
How are they going to improve when they've just got a year older and Steph isn't going to get any less injury prone? He's not even, it's not even the biggest issue. Clay's legs aren't what they were. Draymond Green is not bad, but he's just not who he was. He's still a great defensive player. They're not, we're just talking about the time gap of they've had a 10-year run.
Thanks, Javier. I'm going to jump in, Javier, because you get and I know where you're going with that, and I want to make sure we touch on it here. So thank you for the phone call. We appreciate it. 808-KNBR. Javier's line open as well. A lot to get into as far as that goes. And look, I do think the Warriors are going to have to look to make a move. And no, that doesn't mean break up the core. But what that means is you hope that Jonathan Kuminga plays well enough to where he has trade value around the league to where you can bring somebody in or attach him to another player that can bring somebody in. Like, make no mistake, the Warriors are not breaking up the core at this point. So if they're not breaking up the core, then how are they getting better? Well, it's Jonathan Kuminga and or Moses Moody or whoever, and I think they'd rather have Moody on the team than not. I think Kuminga has been confounding, and I would disagree with you, Javier. I don't think Kuminga's had a good start to the year. I don't. I think he's had some individual halves of games where he's played pretty well, and in a lot of those games, he played pretty badly in the first half of games. So you can look at the overall numbers and say, the overall number is 11, averaging 10, 11. You can say, okay, that's pretty good. But if you've watched it game in and game out, he hasn't been. So I think that's something that, is part of the reason probably why he found his way out of the rotation a little bit. He just hadn't been consistent enough. So 808-KNBR, we'll go ahead and pause here. We'll come back. Javier, I jotted down a couple of things, so I'm not dodging you. We're going to come back right out of the chute. We're also going to get Danny in Vancouver on the phone lines as the Warriors get the win, 110-106 over the Blazers. More Dubs OT with John Dickinson straight ahead on 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Kuminga on the press break all the way to lay it in. The same thing. They did it in the first half. With Steph Curry, they don't want him to get the ball. You're taking two defenders out of the play pretty much. Throw it ahead. Kuminga did not play in the first half. He's got 11 points on 5 of 5 shooting.
I mean, just definitely bringing the energy that the second unit came out there and brought. I mean, from the start to the end, and I feel like we have great players and we're capable of finishing the game. So definitely on the road, I feel like that's what we need.
Jonathan Kuminga there, NBC Sports Bay Area with the audio. We appreciate that. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. 808 KNBR is the number. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as well, as we're going to be doing this after every single Warriors game, and thrilled to be here on the Sports Leader and talking some Warriors basketball following their victory over the Portland Trailblazers, 110-106. If you're leaving the ball game, 808 KNBR. Let's react to this one. A lot to get into as we keep this thing rolling, probably all the way up until 11 o'clock tonight. And we appreciate everybody. We'll get to some in the YouTube chat as well. Appreciate the comments there. As we make our way through the night, we are going to hear from Steve Kerr. We are going to hear from the Warriors locker room as well as the postgame press conferences as Jonathan Kuminga sparking Golden State to a win, playing the final 17 minutes of this game and scoring 13 points on 6 of 6 shooting. Steve Kerr went to him. I'm not sure why he was the odd man out as far as the Warriors rotation tonight to begin with against Portland, who was out, a couple of players that are pretty big rotation pieces for them, and DeAndre Ayton and Jeremy Grant. Not really sure of the backstory, but Kuminga stayed ready, and Steve Kerr, when things really didn't go according to plan as far as the original rotation, went to him, and he helped flip the game in the third quarter. And if Steve Kerr doesn't do that, we're probably talking about a Warriors loss, and an ugly Warriors loss on top of really a week and close to a month of a bunch of Warriors losses. So 808 KNBR, the number. Let's get it moving here on the phones. Danny in Vancouver, British Columbia is up next. Hey, Danny, you're on the Sports Leader. Oh, we lost Danny. Danny, give us a call back. That's my buddy, Danny. Danny and I go way back. Danny's a JD lifer. So, yeah, Danny, we'll get you right to the front here on the Sports Leader. Going back to the YouTube chat, and really appreciate it, just kind of running through some of the comments here. Terrific. Aaron Carlson, appreciate it. It's not Warriors basketball until the JD post game. Good stuff there. Appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, a lot of people just saying what's up. A lot of people happy. Poor game from Chris Paul. Not great there. But yeah, no, we appreciate everybody, and we'll keep running through some of the YouTube chat here between now and 11. But you start looking at where the Warriors are at, and this is a game that, I mean, I always like to think, that what are we going to come out and talk about right off the top? And of course, the number one thing is the Warriors averted disaster by being able to get the win in this game. But the other thing that happens is you go right to Jonathan Kuminga and his ability to put a positive imprint on the game and help them win when he's been somebody that, I mean, let's be honest, he believes he deserves to play more. I think a lot of the Warrior fan base believes that he should be playing more. And, I found it to be a little confounding as to why he wasn't in the rotation on December 6th against a team that was playing as shorthanded as Portland was. But, yeah, hat tip to him for being ready and making a real positive impact on the game. All right, we got our guy Danny back. Danny in Vancouver is up here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Danny.
JD, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Good to speak with you again.
Nice to speak to you. I wanted to congratulate you on the new gig. KNBR did a great thing and wish you the very, very best success. I know you're super excited and hope it's a very long run for you. So glad for you. I just a couple comments. When obviously it was a must-win game, goes without saying. When Kuminga didn't play, I thought maybe they had traded him. That was my first thought. And then the second thought went to he's sending a message to Jonathan. There must have been some issue. I mean, what else could it be? But to his credit, he played great in the second half, and he was the key. And, we'll see. I mean, we keep waiting for them to go on a bit of a run. I don't know if it's going to happen. And Portland was impressive, too. I think they've got some good young talent. So love to hear your thoughts, and thank you again.
Yeah, Portland does have some good young talent. I mean, we'll keep it short on that front, but I actually like the team that they've assembled as far as a rebuild goes. I really do. And so I think they've got an opportunity to be better probably in pretty short order. I mean, Shaedon Sharpe is fantastic. I think Scoot Henderson's going to be a really nice player as he continues to grow. I wasn't quite sure what they were doing as far as the veteran additions. I mean, Ayton is a player that I think wanted more run and than he was getting in Phoenix and wanted to be more of a featured piece. The Jeremy Grant thing I didn't really totally understand. But no, I think they've got some really good young talent. Simons can fill it up. You saw him with 28 in this one. Him and Sharpe really doing big things, and big part of the reason why Portland led for most of this game and had a chance to win it down the stretch. So yeah, even though they walk out of Chase 6-14, I do think their future as far as rebuilding teams go is not really at the bottom of the barrel. But as far as I'll give you my first thought. My first thought was, is Kuminga injured? And there was something that popped up in between when the actives and inactives were announced and tip-off. Like maybe he was dealing with a little bit of something within the last hour before tip-off where there's no injury report. The other thing I thought, and we'll never know, although it may end up getting reported on, is maybe there was some kind of a conversation or some kind of an incident where Steve Kerr thought it's time to go away from Kuminga a little bit. And, I think he wanted to make sure that he gave JK a lot of opportunities because of the way things played out last year and because I think of the perception that Kerr had a little bit of a quick hook for him, in games last year in the regular season, taking him out of the rotation at different points, and in the playoffs when he got ripped out of the Sacramento series completely. And then didn't play in the Lakers series basically because he was one of the two people that Steph Curry referenced when it was reported about the bus ride to Sacramento before Game 7 and pouting and bad body language and young players. It was basically Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga who were the two players that were assumed and reported to be who Steph Curry was talking about. And so I know there was the big deal in the offseason about Kuminga's camp basically saying he wanted guaranteed minutes. And if he wasn't going to get guaranteed minutes, he wanted to be traded. And so I think the Warriors throughout the beginning of this season, I think they almost made a pact, was the way that I had explained it with Kuminga, in that, hey, we're going to give you 20 to 25 minutes every game, but this is what we want out of you. We want hustle. We want rebounding. We want dogged defense. Don't look, and if you do those things, we'll give you minutes and you hustle and you keep your body language in a good place. You do all those things and you're going to get more time. And I think they even told him, you do all those things and we'll give you opportunities to look to score the basketball offensively with that bench group. Like they've let him cook, I think, more. And I say that somewhat half-heartedly. They let him cook, but they've put him in positions out on the wing to be able to drive and shoot that little pull-up and try to get to the basket. It hasn't just been corner threes for Jonathan Kuminga and cuts to the basket for dunks and the plays that really have had him be at his most successful when he has been successful for the Warriors over the course of the first 2 years of his NBA career leading up to this one. So when he's been at his best for the Warriors, it's typically been in a real simplified, do this on defense, hustle around and rebound, and basically only take corner threes or shoot layups or dunks. And if you do that, you're going to, that was when he was at his best last year in March, when the Warriors were shorthanded and still winning, it was this super simplified game plan for Jonathan Kuminga, and he executed it. And then the Warriors got healthy, and he didn't really adjust to not getting the 25 minutes a game that he had been getting. It all of a sudden was down to the 12 to 16, 17-minute range, and he really didn't play all that well and found his way out of the rotation at the point in which the Warriors were in some must-win games against Sacramento and then ultimately against the Lakers. So 808-KNBR, that is the number, 808-KNBR here on The Sports Leader. It is Dubs OT with John Dickinson. And, your phone calls, your text messages. We appreciate everybody on the YouTube chat as well as the Warriors get the win over the Blazers 110-106. So Golden State now improves to 10-11, still on that upward climb toward the 500 mark. Portland ends up 6-14 as they walk out of Chase Center and the Warriors will try and get back to the 500 mark. Basically, we're at the 25% mark of the season here now, with the Warriors being 21 games into the 82-game campaign, and Golden State still on the outside looking in as far as the Western Conference standings go. But the question that comes off of tonight, and it is really the chicken or the egg type question, it's how do you get more consistency out of Jonathan Kuminga? How do you get more stretches out of Jonathan Kuminga, like the stretch that you had tonight and got tonight from Jonathan Kuminga in the second half? Because that 17-minute stint, albeit against a team of his peers, I would say, a lot of young, raw athletic players, the Kuminga fits right in with what the Blazers are doing, to be perfectly honest. And he was successful and played really well. And so, I mean, the question becomes, how do you get that more consistently? Because you come off of this game, and I can hear Warrior fans screaming, he's got to play more. Why are you not playing him more? And so, but the reason that he's not playing more is because he hasn't always brought that when he's been given the opportunities. And so the Warriors just find themselves in this tough spot where, Steve Kerr's trying to get his rotation in order. He's trying almost on a night in, night out basis to figure out the proper starting lineup that he wants to have and then build a bench group around that lineup. And they've just haven't quite been in sync. Like, the overall bench numbers for the most part have been good, but it's how they've gotten to that point with the bench on a night in, night out basis that hasn't necessarily, had everybody playing in the kind of rhythm to where you have a consistent 9 or 10 man group that you can play with and trust. And so when you have that, I think it makes it hard to really go on a streak. I think the closest the Warriors had to that was the first 8 games of the season, where they knew who their starters were going to be. Yes, Draymond Green was out, but then Draymond came back after the first couple of games, and it was basically going to be Steph and Clay. It was going to be Wiggins. It was going to be Draymond, Looney. You knew how all of that was going to shake out, and then Chris Paul was going to go to the bench, and you knew Saric was going to play, and Kuminga was going to play, and Moody was going to play, and probably GP2 was going to play. That's really the only time this season where it really felt like there was a steady 9-10 man rotation, and that was really when the Warriors played their best basketball. So I do think consistency has to be a part of the formula for the Warriors. But then you get into that homestand where they were awful and lost the first 5 games and went 1-5, and you're thinking, well, why couldn't you find consistency then? Well, you lose a couple of games to Cleveland and Minnesota, and then all of a sudden guys are getting hurt and guys are getting suspended and the rotation's getting all jumbled up, and then the Warriors really haven't at any point in the last month been able to find any semblance of consistency to this point. So I think that's where it gets tricky. And then you get a guy like Kuminga, who basically is the reason you win the game tonight, but that works directly opposite whatever the heck Steve Kerr's plan was for tonight. So it creates this scenario where it's like back to the drawing board as far as Steve Kerr is concerned. It's okay, now I got to find minutes for Kuminga because Kuminga earned those minutes. And I think Kuminga played well in the game in Oklahoma City in the second half. That was one of those games in the early part of the season where he didn't play well in the first half, did play well in the second half. And so I just think Kuminga's got to be in there. I really do think Kuminga's got to be in there, but it becomes a question of if Kuminga's going to be in there, and I think this is what Steve Kerr grapples with, if Kuminga's going to be in there, then that changes the way he uses Moses Moody. And then if that changes the way he uses Moses Moody, how does he find minutes for Podziemski? Because he really likes Podziemski and wants to play Podziemski and thinks Podziemski's earned minutes. So that, I think, becomes a little bit of an issue as well, in that I think Kerr was trying to cut it down, and Kuminga wound up being the odd man out, but it was at the expense of you wanted to get Podziemski in there, and you had Wiggins back with Draymond, and everybody was healthy, and you also wanted to get Moses Moody an extended run, which he did get in the first half and ended up playing 26 minutes overall and scoring 12 points. And again, Moody was as impactful in the first half as Kuminga was in the second half, really. And if they don't get the performances that they got from either or both, we're talking about a dreadful, dreadful Warriors loss. 808 KNBR is the number. It's Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson, here on The Sports Leader. Let's get back to the phones. Mark in Millbrae, and if you're driving around, leaving Chase, heading home, following this Warriors win, give me a call or shoot me a text here on The Sports Leader. Mark, what's going on tonight, my man?
Hey, what's up, man? Talking about Kuminga, I think Kerr's got to basically ride the hot hands. And if it's Kuminga, because I think he's obviously the better out of the duo of Moody and obviously Podziemski, you got to go with Kuminga because your hands are tied right now. The Warriors are not good enough for Kerr to mess around with the rotational minutes. Kuminga, I think, has shown that he can, more than, I know he's inconsistent, but more times than not, he can be more reliable than Moody and obviously Podziemski. So with the way the Warriors are really struggling right now, and everybody besides Curry right now doesn't have any leeway to complain about their minutes, I think that's the way you got to go. And Kuminga showed again tonight, coming up stretch. He's basically why they won the game. I know Curry hit the big dagger shot to put the game away, but without that contribution from Kuminga, they don't win tonight. So Kerr's he can't mess around with the rotation anymore because right now the Warriors are really struggling, and it really took, a great effort from Kuminga and a Curry dagger shot really to beat one of the worst teams in the league. And now you've got a stretch here in your schedule where you're playing a lot tougher teams. So if you're Kerr, man, you can't afford to mess around because you're already behind the 8 ball, and now the schedule really rampens up. What are your thoughts in terms of Kuminga's got to earn his trust? I know that, but the Warriors' hands are tied. So how do you balance the two factors right now? Because the Warriors are not really good. They're a below-average team at this point, and they can't afford to really mess around anymore because, like I said, outside of Curry, you don't know what you're going to get from everybody else night to night. So I'll take your thoughts on that. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It's really a tough spot because I think Kerr likes Podziemski. They don't always love Moody as a 2. There's some positional issues, I think, as well. They don't really love Kuminga as a 3, right? So Kuminga is a 4, but I think at times they also like Moody kind of playing some 3 or even some small ball 4. When they do that, it frees up Podziemski to play more if you kick Moody down. But then you also want to be playing Andrew Wiggins a lot. So I think positionally they have guys that they like, but the pieces just don't all fit. And I know one of the things that Steve Kerr mentioned in the postgame press conference was just the fact that they're going to have to start altering maybe the starting lineup, which only compounds things as far as trying to look at, all right, if now Kevon Looney's going to the bench, well, then that's another big that's going to wind up playing. And if Looney goes to the bench, does that mean Saric is going to start? You're almost starting from scratch as far as your starting your whole rotation goes because your starting lineup is going to change. But yeah, the problem for Kuminga and the reason he hasn't received more minutes, even though this is really the first game all season that Kuminga hasn't been in the rotation, at least in the initial planned rotation. He found his way into the rotation by default, basically. And you'll see coaches do this. You go back to the playoff series against Sacramento. Moses Moody started playing in the playoffs last year because Jonathan Kuminga was so bad that Steve Kerr just said, I'm giving Moody his minutes, and let's just see what he's got. And he went into that game 2 in Sacramento and played really well and basically played well the rest of that series and played well against the Lakers. So sometimes coaches will go to players that are not in the rotation. It's almost, bleep it. I'm just throwing them in there. Nothing else is working tonight. The energy's bad. I'm scrapping the plan. And I'm just going to play Kuminga even though I wasn't going to play him. Hopefully he's ready. I trust that he is. And then you get the end result, which is Kuminga was awesome in the second half, and Kuminga helped them win. I mean, you start looking and bookmarking, well, why did the Warriors win this game tonight? I mean, Jonathan Kuminga in the second half is right up there at the top. Steph Curry in the second half is right up there with them. Moses Moody's first half, and then Draymond Green did have a low-key, dogged performance. He did have a low-key Draymond 10, 10, and 9. Like, Draymond was pretty good. in this game, minus the 4 turnovers, and the Warriors had far too many turnovers, although they did cut down on the turnover. It was only 9 in the final 3 quarters, which you can live with. The problem was you had 8 in the first quarter, which you absolutely cannot live with. But 808 KNBR, what do you do if you're Steve Kerr as far as the rotation now? Because I think he came into this game thinking he had it mapped out for the next few games, and the way that they played and the way Kuminga played, I think, has already forced his – it's already basically forced his hand to look at the rotation that he thought he had and just go – just forget it. Can't do it. For those watching on – there it is. We'll just throw it all. That's the Steve Kerr rotation based on what Jonathan Kuminga did to him in this one. So, yeah, what do the Warriors do? 808 KNBR, we will hear from Jonathan Kuminga. We will hear from Steve Kerr. Now I got my mild OCD going. I don't like all the crumbled up, torn up papers here. So I'm just going to dip and throw them on the floor there. But let's get Bill and Brentwood in next here on The Sports Leader. What's going on, Bill?
Hey, good evening. So I was at the game, and, midway through the second quarter, I just was kind of wondering what is Steve Kerr doing with the rotation? So being that CP3 is out.
Well, he was back tonight. Yeah, he was back tonight, although he didn't play well tonight. He did not have a good game tonight at all.
My bad. I meant
GP. Yeah, you're talking about GP. Yeah, GP2.
GP. So, being that he was out, I just kind of saw Kuminga. I was at the game. I just kind of saw him sitting on the bench. I'm going, what is Kerr doing with the rotation? So, you could kind of tell tonight that he was playing with things. He was. The tournament's over. We're out. I think he's trying to set up his rotation for not really the dog days of summer, but the dog days of winter with meaningful games that don't mean anything.
Well, these are meaningful games, Bill. I thought you could tell tonight the Warriors had a tough time getting up for this game against Portland because Portland was shorthanded and youthful, and they didn't really garner the Warriors' respect of the championship players, I think, at the beginning. But the Warriors have to win every one of these games against the Portlands of the world if they're going to have any shot at being the team that they believe they are.
I agree. So that being said, you just kind of see Kuminga festering on the sideline, kind of waiting his turn. And, with Moses Moody, you expect him to hit those open shots. When he doesn't hit those open shots, you kind of wonder why is he out there? Because with Kuminga, he doesn't have to shoot the ball to be effective. He just has to be his athletic self to kind of have an impact on the game. And immediately, as soon as he goes in, he gets a breakaway steal, and you sit there and go, well, why wasn't he in the game since the get-go?
Thanks, Bill. And I think there's a lot of people, and we appreciate the call. I think there's a lot of people that are thinking the same thing right now that you're thinking. The issue is, and the reality is, Kuminga doesn't do that every game. He doesn't play like that every game. And I don't know whether it was the matchup or he was a little ticked off at the fact that he didn't get a chance to play in the first half, or maybe Steve Kerr had a conversation with him and said, look, you're not going to be in the initial rotation tonight, but stay ready. Whatever it was, Kuminga came out, and Kuminga played a little angrier tonight and a little more forceful tonight and a little more spunky tonight. And that's the Kuminga that the Warriors need. But the truth is he doesn't play like that all the time, which is why he found himself in the position where he wasn't in the rotation to begin with. That being said, when Kuminga plays like that, he's a tremendous asset to the Warriors. And I'm kind of with you on, the Moses Moody, he's got to make shots to stay on the floor. I agree with that small part of it. All right, 808-KNBR is the number. You can give me a call or a text, 808-KNBR, the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. We'll go ahead and pause here. We'll come back, 104.5 and KNBR 680, the sports leader.
live from downtown.
Hurry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Streaming live at knbr.com and on the KNBR app.
John Dickinson.
Draymond looking for a seam to float it up and out. Got his own rebound. Moody, his three is perfect.
Oh, see, that's how you get the crowd involved. As soon as Moody got the ball, you heard the crowd start yelling like in anticipation. They knew that was going in.
11 to shoot for Jemski. Got him in kind of a 1-2-2 zone here. Brandon deep three. Wow.
That one almost touched the scoreboard.
Kuminga on the press break all the way to lay it in.
The same thing. They did it in the first half. With Steph Curry, they don't want him to get the ball. You're taking two defenders out of the play pretty much. Throw it ahead.
Kuminga did not play in the first half. He's got 11 points on 5 of 5 shooting.
Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga would finish 6 of 6 shooting with 13 points as the Warriors get the win 110-106. Back here on Dubs OT with JD on KNBR, the sports leader. 808 KNBR. We will get to the YouTube chat as well. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch for Dubs OT with JD, our third show. Thrilled to be here at the sports leader talking Warriors basketball after each and every game. Big things coming for this show as well. Got the great Greg Silver behind the glass, helping out, doing a great job. 808 KNBR, a lot of good callers tonight. Appreciate everybody checking in, and we'll get to you on the YouTube chat as well between now and 11 o'clock as we talk about the Warriors improving themselves to 10-11. Jonathan Kuminga, the headliner, didn't play in the first half, as you heard Fitz say on NBC Sports Bay Area, but did make a big-time impact in the second half as the Warriors get the win. All right, 808 KNBR. Let's go to Gio in Oakland next here on Dubs OT. What's up, Gio?
Thanks, JD. First of all, I want to say welcome to KNBR as a longtime listener from everywhere else. Like, welcome to KNBR. But what I want to say is all these people talking about, oh, Kuminga should have played more or this or that, right? Like, if you look at it realistically from a whole season perspective, right, can you say that between him, Moody, and Pods, right, who would make the biggest impact? Obviously, Moody would be first, and then Pods and him would be second. Maybe tied for second at most. Maybe Kuminga at third, right? Like, that's the reason why he didn't play the first half, right?
Yeah, I think Steve Kerr was looking at the totality of everybody that he wanted to play, and he thought tonight was going to be a game where he knew he had Wiggins back. He knew he had his full starting lineup, and I think he wanted to play Moody, and I think he wanted to play Podziemski, and that led to a shorter rotation, and it led to Kuminga being the odd man out, at least initially.
Exactly. It's no one's fault, right? It's just like if you were the coach, if we could all put ourselves in Steve Kerr's feet, right? What out of the output that all these players have done, I would put Moody first and maybe Pods and Kuminga tied for second at the best. But if anything, maybe Pods before Kuminga, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could. I still think Kuminga's made more of an overall impact than Podziemski has, although Podziemski's had some games. I think Kuminga's had some second halves of games, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, where he's really been impactful. It's just the problem is the problem is those games, Gio, a lot of the times in the first half, he was one of the worst players on the court. And so you look up at the end of the game, and it doesn't leave you, if you're Steve Kerr, more confident in playing him all the time. In essence, like, I bet there were a lot of games, Gio, where Steve Kerr looked at it at the end and went, damn, Kuminga really helped us in the second half, but the way he played in the first half, I might not be able to stick with him at all if he keeps playing like that in the first half. And so it creates this constant conundrum where you're trying to find the right combinations. And I think when you're doing that, you end up almost every night with somebody being the odd man out and somebody unhappy. And then it just kind of continues to manifest from there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess my point is all these people saying, oh, they should have been playing Kuminga more on that, based off of what? You know what I mean? Like,
no
the
doubt.
potential, but the potential is there for Kuminga, but at the same time, has he been performing like?
No, he hasn't played like he did tonight in the second half all year. Like I totally know where you're coming from, Gio. I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's all. Like I'm a huge Warriors fan. I'm a huge fan of Kuminga, but at the same time, like all these people talking trash about like, oh, Kerr didn't know what he's doing. It's like there's a reason why, obviously.
Well, and you give him credit. Thanks, Gio. Appreciate it. You give Steve Kerr credit, at least I do, for going to him. Just because the guy wasn't in the plan, if the plan's not working, you scrap the plan. That doesn't mean you go back and say after the fact, well, he should have been playing 35 minutes tonight, although it was peculiar in this specific matchup. If we're talking about matchups, and I know Steve Kerr said after the game that he may have to start tweaking the starting lineup a little bit on a night-in, night-out basis. He wants to give that core group that was so good a year ago an opportunity to work itself through some different issues. And the Warriors did get beat 26-22 in the first quarter. Third quarter was pretty ugly at times until the back end when the Warriors made their run, but then Portland was able to push it back out a little bit. But the issue really is the inconsistency, I think, more than anything. 808 KMBR, still time to sneak in some phone calls here between now and 11 o'clock. Again, it's Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson. Pleasure to be here on The Sports Leader, as we're going to be doing this after every single Warriors game all season long, and hopefully for years to come, as the Warriors get the win 110-106 over the Portland Trail Blazers. Let's keep it rolling. George in Berkeley next year on The Sports Leader. Hey, George.
JD, it's good to hear you. Thanks for being there for Warriors fans in the OT. And I want to appreciate Steve Kerr and the team in a whole to, thank them for so much that they provided. But each season, you got to go Valerie Bertinelli on this, man. It's one day at a time. The rotation's going to be what it is. It's the guy that showed something different in practice. It's a matchup thing. And to be a fan and start to try to evaluate what the choices are, you just want to see 8 guys glue together as a team. And from past experience, we know as fans that has all the ability to happen, even with a teammate that you don't necessarily like on the team.
Thanks for the call, George. I appreciate it. The bottom line is Moody and Podziemski were more trustworthy players for Steve Kerr at this point, and that's why they've got the run. At least we're in the initial plan. Steve Kerr really likes Podziemski. He really likes Podziemski's game. I think you didn't really know what the Warriors had in the Summer League, and his shot was not great in the Summer League, although the confidence was there. But he came back and, look, he's still got a ways to go, but he came back and looked like a different guy in the preseason from the guy that we all saw play in Sacramento in the Summer League and in Vegas in the Summer League. He came back a lot more confident. He came back looking just like a different dude, which I think Steve Kerr was kind of vibing on his ability to make some shots, but get into the paint, but keep the rock moving, and just keep everybody, just keep the flow of the game going. Kerr called him a connector, early on. He's a connector. He's somebody that can connect different lineups together and play with another playmaker, and then you got multiple playmakers. You put a couple shooters out there, a slasher, and then you got action. So I think that's why, rather than having him be a backup or a third-string point guard, Steve Kerr likes having him as a two-guard with another point guard, whether it's Steph or Chris Paul out there on the floor with him. But if you're going to do that, then that means you got to bump Moses Moody up. And as we were talking about earlier, if you bump Moses Moody up, then what do you do with Kuminga? All that being said, and again, I've been the one that's been on the, hey, Kuminga's got to earn it train. And I don't think at times, I feel like Kuminga throughout his career has performed like a player that's he seemed a little entitled to me. Like he, 7th pick in the draft, supreme athleticism, got a little swag to his game on the court. I think Kuminga was the kind of guy that knew that the media and the fans loved him. And I think he thought, because of where he was picked, both 7th overall and coming to the Warriors with all the future Hall of Famers, that this was going to be his time to get put on the map and with the quickness, and that he was going to be running with the future Hall of Famers with some regularity. And so at times I think that's led to, that's led to hanging his head when things haven't gone well and he hasn't gotten those opportunities. I don't think it's necessarily an effort issue in terms of like dogging it. It's just knowing the right ways to impact a game and knowing the ways that, at times he's just been a little lost, I think, in what the Warriors are doing. Like he's thinking out there on the court. Like I think that's been more of his problem than motor. But at times I do think his motor hasn't quite been there for a player that is as athletic and can be. I mean, you saw it tonight. I mean, breakaway dunks, catches the lob. Like he's got what it takes to be an excellent defender and a floor runner and a dunker and somebody that just, brings it in a big time way. But he just gets caught, I think, at times thinking a little too much in rotations defensively, thinking a little too much as to what he wants to do when the ball's in his hands. Offensively, I think there's times where the Warriors have told him, hey, don't take that shot. So then he gets the ball in a certain position, and rather than taking a shot that feels natural to him, he kind of pauses, wants to keep it moving because he wants to do. Like I think in a lot of ways he is a pleaser for as much as he's a guy that I think does think he's pretty damn good. I think he does want to try to do what's right to remain on the court. And so the other part of it is he's just young. He's just young and still growing. And I think the biggest issue that I would have is probably just the fact that everybody wanted it a little too quick for him or acted like he'd been farther along than he actually was. Like he was never going to be a superstar, borderline all-star player in his third year. Like it was just never going to happen. And so to have that be the expectation, like he was going to be somebody that was going to be, riding along with the stars, leading him to this fifth title, was I think a little bit foolish to think that, to be perfectly honest. And I think it set him up because he had a high opinion of his own game. I think it set him up to fail a little bit. I think the expectations became a little too high because the hype, both from the fans and I'll say even from some in the media, became a little too high. And he's had to kind of reckon and grapple with that. I think it's led to some bad habits. I think it's led at times to maybe a little bit of a bad attitude. And those have been the things that he's had to overcome to stay in the good graces of Steve Kerr on a regular basis. And, one way to do it, though, is Steve Kerr loves what Jonathan Kuminga did tonight. Told he's not going to be in the rotation, but stay ready. And then when Steve Kerr goes to him, he's ready, and he's maybe the best player on the floor in a Warriors win. That's how you earn the respect and the trust of Steve Kerr. All right, 808-KNBR is the number. 808-KNBR. John Dickinson here on The Sports Leader. It's Dubs OT with JD. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up, and we'll wrap things up with some post-game locker room and press conference sound as the Warriors get the win. That's all straight ahead here on KNBR 104.5 and 680, The Sports Leader.
Dub Nation, this is the real and inside story on Warriors basketball. Dubs OT with John Dickinson continues. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
The switch offensively for the Dubs. And Steph Curry puts that in and draws the foul. This needs a couple to see go through the basket.
So I give Portland the credit. They have a young, hungry team, and they controlled most of the game. And then obviously Steph took over, and then Jonathan really changed the game.
Jonathan Kuminga did change the game. Warriors get the win, 110-106. We welcome you back here. It's Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Warriors now 10-11. Final couple of minutes here of our third show. Appreciate the help of the great Raph. Appreciate him. Also Greg Silver doing an excellent job. We are going to hear some post-game sound as we wrap things up. We are going to go to the YouTube chat as well between now and 11 o'clock and check in with the YouTubers. We appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch, and don't want to feel like that's neglected. It's going to become a bigger and bigger part of this program as it goes on, as we get more comfortable with everything technically that's going on here in a new space, at least for me here at night, and looking forward to all of that. And we hope to hear a little bit from Chris Paul as he addressed in his post-game press conference everything that went on the night before Thanksgiving and has gone on for about a decade between he and Scott Foster. I know this was addressed by the commissioner. This has been something that Chris Paul has hinted at in the past, and so we hope to hear a little bit about that. But let's go ahead and get into some of the post-game sound from this one, and we'll start with Steve Kerr on Jonathan Kuminga.
Well, I thought Portland was fantastic defensively. We couldn't get anything going in the first half. They had ball pressure on every single guy who touched the ball. So they took us out of all of our stuff. At one point I looked, we had 12 assists and 15 turnovers, mid-third, late third. That's not like us. So I give Portland the credit. They have a young, hungry team, and they controlled most of the game. And then obviously Steph took over, and then Jonathan really changed the game.
Yeah, excellent stuff there from Steve Kerr on Jonathan Kuminga. And look, he played the final 17 minutes after not playing the first 31 minutes, and was a game high plus 13. Game high. Nobody had a better plus minus in the game, and I know low sample size plus minus. Tonight it fits. Tonight the one game 17-minute plus minus for Jonathan Kuminga fits. Plus 13, his 13 points. Warriors win by 4. He basically, along with Steph, you still needed Steph's 31. You still needed Moody in the first half as he finishes with 12 overall. You still need Saric to do what he did. Draymond was a monster aside from some turnovers. 10-10-9 game for Draymond Green. And the Warriors able to overcome another poor game from Andrew Wiggins, another poor game from Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, 3 of 13. Andrew Wiggins, 3 of 12. And I guess that is one way to look at things and say, all right, that's a positive that the Warriors are able to win a game against anybody when those two shoot it that bad. But that's just a real there aren't a lot of great moving forward signs to take away. It's just like tonight's really the game where it's, you won, which is better than the alternative. And can you imagine the show we're doing if they lose? And Kuminga's a legit, but Kuminga doing what he did tonight really, you hope it springboards Kuminga into being more consistent, but it probably won't. If given the history, you can hope that if you're a Warrior fan, but the greater history has shown that it probably won't springboard him into being more consistent. But he does have that half in him. He does have that 16, 17-minute stretch in him from time to time, and the Warriors sure as heck needed it in the game tonight. All right, let's go ahead and hear from Moses Moody talking post-game about his role.
Sitting on the bench early, I could see we needed that spark more than anything. They were running around, picking up full court, getting rebounds. So, we got guys that can do that too. So I felt like that was my role.
Yeah, Moses Moody talking about sitting there watching Portland basically go up and down on the Warriors in the first quarter of the game, and it was a lethargic start. Wow, bad start. I mean, you have that many days off, and then basically a game that's put right in front of you to win if you're the Warriors, and you come out and you're just as flat can be. So tough. And again, it's understandable in the sense that the Warriors have it, but you can't complain about not having time off and then complain about having time off. So that one kind of falls on a deaf ear as far as I'm concerned with regard to the can't get up for it. But December 6th, one of the worst teams in the NBA, young up and coming team. That's one of those games where at home, one of those games that has to be a win, but you got to be able to come out and play a little better, I think, a little bit quicker. Final little piece of sound here is from Jonathan Kuminga, the man of the night. We've laid out his line a couple of different times, but here's what JK had to say about his role and making an impact on the game.
It's not the first time, so if it was the first time, I'll be asking myself, like, what do I need to do? So I actually know what I need to do when I haven't played and when we really needed to get through that type of hump. I mean, that's obviously what the young guys out there supposed to be doing. But, I mean, I'm always ready. So regardless, anytime, if my name haven't been called, but like I always say, I'm a professional. I know my job. I know my role. All that matters is just go out there and finish the job.
And he went out and finished the job in a big-time way for the Warriors tonight, and they needed it. So hat tip to Kuminga. He gets the flowers for keeping himself ready and going in and playing a little angry. I mean, he was spectacular. And I think it does beg the question. I think for this night, I thought it was strange that Kuminga wasn't out there tonight. I understand why maybe on other nights he wouldn't be in the rotation based on the way that he's played overall. But for him to go out there and make the impact he did, I mean, this is a game that nobody's really going to remember probably come March. Hell, maybe even come New Year's. But it's a win that the Warriors are going to be better off for having as opposed to the alternative. All right, final couple of minutes here. Dubs OT with JD here on The Sports Leader. I do want to get into the chat and appreciate everybody on the YouTube chat who has been checking in. Manny saying it's unacceptable that Kuminga didn't play in the first half. We got a few people at Copest Control. What's up, JD? Welcome. Chris Paul, only 2 points. Yeah, Chris Paul was not good tonight. Chris Paul was not good tonight. We got, Aaron checking in, rat on the table. Appreciate that. JK doesn't need any more minutes than 15 to 20 per game. I mean, he was getting a consistent 15 to 20 per game until tonight. Tonight, as we were talking about earlier, this is the first time he really wasn't in the rotation. San Jose Jazz fan. Chris Paul doing Chris Paul things, got bumped going for rebound, fell down, lost the ball, stuck his leg out to trip a guy that bumped him. Classic CP3. Yeah, he was making an impact, I guess, in that realm. But yeah, San Jose Jazz fan also adding, Steve, why didn't you play Kuminga in the first half? Kerr, blah, 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 matchups, rotations, blah, blah, blah. JK stayed ready, blah, blah, blah. I think a lot of Warrior fans are echoing that. Rip Cougar. I think they should definitely flip Kuminga. I think the organization is considering it. It actually wouldn't surprise me if the organization is. But here's the thing. You can't flip Kuminga if Kuminga's playing as poorly or as inconsistently as he had been playing before tonight. To me, if the Warriors, but it's such a tough conversation because if Kuminga plays like he did tonight for 15 games, then you're like, damn, maybe this kid's breaking through. You want to keep him. But then you also are thinking his value may not be that high again, at least for this year when you're all in on supposedly winning a championship. So I think it's a little bit of a catch-22 there. But the better he plays, it helps you either way. Either it helps you because he's playing well or it helps you because his trade value increases. Either way, you want him playing well. And tonight he did that. Enrique Rivera, a few from Enrique. JD, what's up? Go Warriors. JD loves JK for the content. A lot of media do. I think that's no secret. I'm not spilling the tea on that one. I keep hearing Clay will break out. Clay will get hot. I think Clay's going to have some hot games, but I think he's got another 3 for 13 in him at some point. I think we've seen that. And then Rockin' New Era 84. Javier is both a Warriors fan and a Kings fan. He admitted that, but says he's a Kings fan first and foremost. Javier and I go way back. Javier used to call me, and I guess it was I've got my life now, Greg, and then I've got my previous life, and then I've got my previous life. When I used to book your pops to come on radio shows, I've got that life, and Javier was actually a child. Javier was a 9 or 10-year-old kid that used to call in my past life before a past life. And no, he's a Kings fan. Javier's definitely a Kings fan. So yeah, but hey, Kings fans are welcome. Kings fans are welcome talking Dubs. So yeah, appreciate everybody on the YouTube chat, and the YouTube chat is going to be, and Bennett Roth pointing out, yeah, Kuminga didn't exactly shoot on those field goals, and that's how he should operate. That's his best strength. Open court attack inside. Yeah, no doubt. I think the Warriors basically, and they would never say this publicly, but I think privately the Warriors would say they only want Kuminga to shoot corner threes and dunks. In a perfect world, it would be corner threes and dunks. And that really has been when he's been his most successful for the Warriors, to be perfectly honest, over the first 2+ years of his career. But when an agent says, hey, I want my guy traded, if he's not going to get consistent run, I think the Warriors had to change their protocol a little bit. So, we'll see. And yeah, Robert on the YouTube chat, Kuminga's defense super inconsistent. Yeah, he's really not a good team defender in particular. He's a pretty good on-ball defender when he can just hound somebody. But tonight, it was all about Kuminga. So for one night, he's had some bad games. This was one of his best. I agree. Drew Down pointing that out as well on the YouTube chat. So the YouTube chat is going to be huge on this program. Great job. We'll call it a night on that note, as we'll reconvene on Friday after the Warriors play in Oklahoma City. So looking forward to that. Thanks to Greg Silver. Appreciate it. Thanks to the great Raph, the legendary Raph, coming in on a Wednesday night and helping out. I'm John Dickinson, back with you. Should be right around 7:30 on Friday. No matter how you consume Warriors basketball, this is where you need to be when the final horn hits. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
John Dickinson.
Jonathan really changed the game.
Curry again.